Shri Ganesha Sharada Gurubhyo Namaha Agajanana Padmarkam Gajananam Aharnisham Anekadam Tam Bhaktanam Ekadantam Upasmahe. Welcome to all for this session on Ganesha Purana for chapter 20, where I'll be continuing the story of Bhima, the King Bhima, whose son will now going to be named as Daksha. Brahma, who is narrating this story to Vyasa, he explained the king Bhima invited the great Brahmins who were, I'm sorry, it's not King Bhima, it was the king who was there 7 generations before him. He, one of his forefather, who had a son who was having all kind of disabilities. He invited the good Brahmins who were grounded in the Vedas and knew the destiny of men, first honored them with wealth, clothes, and jewels, consulted with them, and then gave his son the name of Daksha. He then gathered a collection of herbs and undertook the offering of mantras and the recitation of prayers. For 12 years, he himself performed a severe austerity for the removal of his son's illness and for the prosperity of his own lineage. But when the king saw that his son was not freed from the disease, he became depressed. And seething with anger, he said, "Leave my palace with your son, O Queen Kamala. From now on, I am unable to look at you and this son." There is always a limit to the extent to which a male, or a father to take care of the family. He tried to do everything. He offered great offerings to Brahmins. He brought the best of the doctors. He tried to provide the best of the treatment. He tried the complete holistic kind of a treatment. He himself performed the penance. He himself meditated upon the God. He offered worship in every temple in his kingdom. But still, there was no there was no relief. The child is still not out of illness. On seeing the suffering of the child, he once decided not just to give up both his child as well the mother who is his own queen. After Vallabha reapproached her in this way, Kamala then departed from the city for the forest, taking her son. A mother cannot give up her child, so she quit the kingdom along with her child. Weeping, falling to pieces with grief, wiping away the tears of pain, carrying the deceased, I mean, that means the child with lot of disabilities, carrying the child on her back, he became ravaged by fatigue, thirst, and hunger. He went from one village to another, living by beggary, that means begging the people for the food and the cloth, and suffering terribly. And thieves plundered her clothing, jewelry, and such like. And so, going into a village, she would leave her son in a Shiva temple, and this beloved of the king would wander into the city for alms. Once she was a queen, the beloved of the king, living in the palace, but today she is on the street, begging the people for the sake of food on the streets. On one occasion, she went with her son to beg in the city, and by virtue of making contact with breath from the mouth of a certain Brahmin, who Lambodara had caused to appear there because of his exceptional devotion, on the way she met with a Brahmin, and just by the touch of the breath from his body, The young boy acquired a celestial body with eyes and ears. Such is the speciality of a person who is devoted to Lambodara. Here basically means the same Gajanana, who is such a devotee of Gajanana. He was such a great devotee of Gajanana. Just by the mere touch of the air that was flowing through his body, mere the touch of the feel had cured the child with all the disease that he was having. Kamala rejoiced after she beheld him making charming and delightful utterances. But Kamala wondered, why didn't he become whole as a result of efficacious herbs, mantras, personal services, and vast sacrifices? The same child in the past was treated with every kind of the best medicine. Every austerity measure was taken care of. The lot of worship was done. Even then, the child was not cured. But all of a sudden, my son became whole. That means he was completely cured by virtue of contact with death of that Brahmin. Who is he? Where will I find this man who can, just by his death, could destroy all the bad karmas? After she had said this and had embraced her son, her anguish is completely gone. Once again, collecting her son, she went into the city to beg. The townspeople, respectfully, the same townspeople who were rejecting her, who are not giving her the required food and the shelter, on seeing that handicapped child and her own pitifulness, the same townspeople now respectfully welcomed them both and fed them with various kinds of cooked food and vegetables and such like candied sugar, ghee, and food prepared with milk. They offered them sweets, they offered them fruits, they offered them so much of food. They gave so much respect to them. All of a sudden, the whole world has changed for both the mother and the child. Eating happily in this way, day after day, they also obtained lovely new clothes and money each day. When the chief of the town asked him, "Tell me about your father's name. What is your country? What is your town? Who is your kinsman and what is your livelihood?" After giving ear to those words, he told him, that means the child told to the chief of the town, that his name was Daksha. Then he questioned him further about his mother, father, city, family, and what had happened. And he replied, "My beloved father is in the city of Bhanu in Karnataka. He is a great Kshatriya, strong, famous, and a crusher of enemy troops. So he was a Rajaputra. He was son of a king. This woman who is with me, Kamala, is his wife, and I am his only son called Daksha. O Brahmin, the chief of the city, when I was born, I was blind, deaf, filled with many sores. My mother tried to abandon me. He made a great effort, but my father prevented her, and then my father performed austerities for 12 years and offered the merit of that. But when my father could not see anything right in my body, that means when my father seen no cure in my body, he banished both me and my mother. Now I have become good looking by virtue of contact with somebody's breath. I don't know who that person is. In this way, Daksha told him everything he had heard from his mother. After hearing which, the city dweller left and Daksha too left quickly and he gladdened his mother. In that city, a Brahmin of compassionate heart then instructed these two in the rules for the propitiation of Ganesha. That Brahmin told both the mother and the son due to perform to worship Ganesha, after which Kamala and Daksha, the son and the mother, attained supreme calmness, both intent upon the worship of Ganesha by means of the austerity of standing on one toe. That's how they performed their meditation. Completely engrossed in devotion, these two were reciting that excellent mantra of 8 syllable. In the past, we heard about the single syllable mantra and the 8 syllable mantra which the Vishnu repeated. So both the mother and son, they repeated that 8 syllable mantra standing on a single toe, in which the name of the god is in the dative case and is preceded and followed by Om. On that's the type of the mantra. On seeing them living on air, means they were not eating anything, they were not drinking any water, so they were simply living by breathing the air. Their bodies emaciated and illustrious Vinayaka, an ocean of compassion appeared in front of them. He was four-armed, huge in body, elephant face, very handsome, of the appearance of many suns. His brilliance was equal to millions of suns, and like the sun arisen in the night. His head was glittering with the diadem set with jewels, gold, and pearls. He was dressed in yellow silk and ornamented with golden bracelets on the upper part of his arms. Reclining on one knee, he was seated on a large seat. He was wearing a golden girdle and a jeweled ring. On his stomach there was a large snake, and he carried one tusk, half that of an elephant. Both of them saw his very form, and then once again the form of a Brahmin. The same Gajanana was he showed initially his real form, and suddenly he took the shape of a Brahmin. And that Brahmin said to both of them, I am satisfied with your calm, with your penance, and have come to give you a boon. Should- And please let me know your heart's desire. The sage Brigu continued to tell the story. When the pleased Vignesha became visible in the form of a Brahmin, Daksha bowed to him with deep devotion and spoke with his hands folded. Daksha said, "May some merit that I performed in a previous birth has borne fruit for me, O excellent Brahmin. Because of that reason, I have seen your form, which is vast and superlative in its duality, as Vinayaka and as a Brahmin. First, I saw you in your true form of Vinayaka, Gajamukha, the elephant faced god, and then now in the form of Brahmin. Now my birth has become significant, my birth has become fruitful. You are the highest of causes, and you are the cause of the Vedas, the supreme knowledge, the supreme Brahma who is eternal and is to be sought through the Vedas. You alone are the witness of everything. You are inside and outside of everything. You alone are the agent of actions in the bodies of both subtle and gross. It means all actions that we do in our gross body, which is visible to others. or in the subtle body, which includes our mind, intelligence, and other things. You and whatever actions we perform through either this gross visible body or the subtle invisible body, all those actions are actually performed by you. Having many forms and having only one form, you can be defined, yet you are without any form. You alone are Shiva, you alone are Vishnu, Indra, Agni, and Aryaman. Your own form is the earth, atmosphere, and the heaven, and you have the form of plates, the moon, and the water. You are the maker of everything, protector of everything, and the destroyer of everything. You are the preceptor of beings moving and non moving, and the protector, and you possess intuitive knowledge and discriminative knowledge. You alone are the past, present, and future, and you alone are the deity of senses. You are a Kala, the one who runs the world, runs the time. You are the time. You are the Kasta and an hour. It's basically the seconds, minutes, and hours that we see in terms of time. Everything is you. The prosperity, firmness, and patience is all you. You alone are Sankhya and Yoga. These are the darshanas among the six different darshanas in Indian philosophy. And Ganesha, you are the Sankhya, you are the Yoga, you are the Shastras and the Veda, Puranas, 64 art forms, as well as the Upanishads. You alone are the Brahmin and the Vaishya, the Kshatriya and the Shudra. Visibly, we see in this world people of different class, but they are all originally human beings. And who are they? Their gross bodies are made of the earth, whereas the subtle body, the one who is within, who is performing everything, is all you, Ganesha. You are this country and the foreign country. We say that this is our country, this is a foreign country, but everything is you. There is nothing else apart from you. The field and the fields of merit. You are the measurable and immeasurable. And the field of knowledge for yogis. You alone are heaven, hell, the forest, and the grooves, herbs, creepers, trees, bulbs, roots, and fruits. You comprise the living beings and the egg born, born from a woman, sweat born, and those which sprout. Among the living beings, some living beings are born through an egg, some living beings are born from the womb of a woman or the female species. Some worms, some kind of a bacteria and others, they are born in the sweat. And then there are plants which sprout. Everything is you. There is nothing, there is nothing that exists that it which is not you. You are desire, anger, hunger, avarice, deceit, pride, compassion, and forbearance. You are sleep, exhaustion, and pleasure, laughter, and grief. Everything, every quality that we see in this world, every being that we see in this world, every living and non living form we see in this world, everything is nothing else but the form of that supreme deity who himself or herself, because it doesn't have any sex, so it doesn't have any gender, that is basically formless, that cannot be seen, that cannot be sensed. But whatever we see, whatever we sense, whatever we taste, whatever we could able to smell, whatever we could able to hear, everything is the form of that supreme deity. Because in this world, this whole world, what exists is only that supreme deity and nothing else. And that is the reason why in Indian culture we do offer worship to everything that is existing before us. It may be a simple stone to a tree, or it may be anything, maybe wooden, or maybe made up of anything. We offer the worship because in this whole world, what exists is only that supreme deity and nothing else. Even all those 330 crore different demigods to whom we offer the worship, they are nothing else but the visual forms, the form of that same formless God. Because what exists in reality is that one single God, one single supreme power, whom we cannot even have any reference to. He is all pervading, omnipresent, everywhere existing. So Daksha praised him with these words, and after hearing Daksha's words, Vinayaka was very pleased. Almost smiling, he spoke to him in words deep as the rumbling of clouds. Gajanana said, very fortunate one. I am pleased with this profound eulogy, though longing to grant a boon for you. I can give you the boon. However, I will not give you one. Were I to give you a boon, I can give the boon to you, but I do not want to give the boon to you because my devotee would be angry with me, thinking that he will give a boon merely because someone has a mangled body, just because you are suffering. So I gave the boon. So my devotee want to give you the boon. It is the same devotee because of the whose touch your all your disease got cured. Not even touch. It is just a air which was passing over his body touched the body of the child and all his disease was cured. And Lord Gajanana wanted Daksha to meet him, become his disciple, and learn all the Vedas and Shastras. That is why Gajanana is not giving him any boon. You have obtained a celestial body and you have eyes and ears. I can say that the name of him from whom you have really been born, you have been really reborn into this celestial body. The name of my devotee is Mudgala. That Lord of Brahmins will reveal his true form merely at a thought. What desires you desire, He will give all of them to you. He will give you more than what, as a supreme deity, I myself can give. Such is the speciality of the culture that the devotee is considered as much more higher than the supreme deity himself. The supreme deity himself put all his devotees much above him, showing them the prominence of having devotion towards the god. After saying this, the supreme Ganesha disappeared from there instantaneously. After he had disappeared, Daksha was very distressed and wept just like when a beggar obtains a treasure and loses all the treasure. And as a calf screams loudly when a cow was died. And while shedding tears from both his eyes, he fell onto the ground, constantly muttering, where has Vinayaka gone? Where has he gone? The god has gone. I'm not able to see him. But the real intention of the supreme deity Gajanana is to ensure the meeting of his two great devotees. One, the devotee who was worshipping Gajanana since long time, Mudgala, who had got such a wonderful powers just by mere looking at Mudgala. One's sins would have been simply all the sins from his past life, also all the bad karmas would simply wash away. So Gajanana wanted Daksha, the new devotee, to meet the Mudgala so that he will also gain the expertise in various knowledge forms. Thus ends the 20th chapter of Upasana Khanda of the glorious Ganesha Purana. in which we had heard about the story of Daksha so far. Namaste Sharada Devi Kashmira Puravasini Twamaham Prarthaye Nityam Vidya Danancha Dehimi. Bye.